Have you ever met someone who turned their own weaknesses into weapons? Hold that thought, because Tyrion Lannister did this his entire life. And the phrase that defines him, "I drink and I know things," carries far more weight than it seems. Westeros wasn't made for men like Tyrion. In a world where size means power, where swords decide fates, and brute force is currency, being born a dwarf in the most powerful family on the continent was a sentence, not of death, something worse, a sentence of eternal contempt. His own father, Tyrion Lannister, looked at his son like a stain on the family name. His sister, Cersei, blamed Tyrion for their mother's death in childbirth. From his first breath of life, he was treated as a mistake, as an aberration, as something that should have been discarded. But Tyrion didn't die. Tyrion learned. While his brother Jaime trained with swords, Tyrion devoured books. While Cersei learned to manipulate with beauty, Tyrion learned to manipulate with words. Every insult he received, every look of disgust, every door slammed in his face, all of it became fuel, and the wine became his companion. Don't romanticize this. Tyrion drank to survive, drank to numb the pain of existing in a world that didn't want him. Drank because sometimes the only way to endure life's absurdity is through the bottom of a glass. But here's the detail that separates Tyrion from any common drunk. He never stopped thinking, never let the alcohol drown the mind that was his only real weapon. Close your eyes and imagine the scene. Tyrion, sitting in a dark room, glass in hand, observing, always observing, while others talk too much. He listens while the powerful show off. He mentally notes every weakness, every contradiction, every secret whispered after the third glass of wine. Knowledge was his sword, and he sharpened that sword every single day. When Tyrion drops that iconic phrase, "I drink and I know things," it is not a joke. It's a declaration of war. It's him telling the world, "You can despise me for my body, but you'll never surpass me with my mind." His trajectory in Game of Thrones is a masterclass in political survival. They put him as Hand of the King when Joffrey rose to the throne. Tyrion transformed King's Landing into a fortress, organized the defense against Stannis' barrage, used wildfire to incinerate an entire fleet, saved the city while everyone thought he was just the drunk dwarf who told jokes. And what was the reward? Nothing. Zero. His father took the credit. His sister kept hating, and when they needed a scapegoat for Joffrey's death, guess who they accused? The dwarf who had saved them all. Tyrion was tried in a tribunal of lies, watched people he had helped testify against him. Saw the woman he loved, Shay, climb onto the stand and destroy whatever dignity remained. Every word of hers was a knife. Every lie, a reminder that in this world, love is a luxury that people like him cannot have. And it was there, actually, that trial that Tyrion finally exploded. His speech is devastating. He looks at the crowd that always despised him and throws the truth in their faces that nobody wanted to hear. He wasn't being tried for killing Joffrey. He was being tried for being born, for existing, for daring to survive in a world that wanted him dead from day one. Take a deep breath and feel the weight of that, an entire life proving your worth. And in the end, nothing matters. Because prejudice is stronger than any evidence. Because people prefer to believe in the monster they invented rather than the man who actually exists. Tyrion escaped death, killed his own father, fled to another continent, and when everyone thought he would surrender the wine for good, he did what he always did. He reinvented himself. He ended up at Daenerys Targaryen's side. The Mother of Dragons needed someone who understood Westeros, who knew the games of power, who could navigate political waters infested with sharks. Tyrion was perfect for that, but their relationship was never simple. Daenerys had fire in her blood, wanted to burn enemies, wanted to conquer with brute force. Tyrion tried to be the voice of reason, tried to channel that power into something constructive. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. The most fascinating thing about Tyrion is that he makes mistakes, bad ones, underestimates people, trusts those he shouldn't, tries to see humanity where only cruelty exists. He bet that Cersei would honor agreements, bet that he could control Daenerys' fury. He bet wrong both times, and that makes him human. Not an infallible genius, but a brilliant person who carries too many scars to think clearly all the time. When Daenerys finally crossed the line, when she burned King's Landing with all the innocents inside, Tyrion had to face the most brutal failure of his life. He helped put that woman in power, believed in her, defended her against everyone who warned about Targaryen madness. And he was wrong. Wine didn't help this time. No clever joke would fix a city in ashes. No accumulated knowledge would bring back the charred children. Tyrion had to do what he swore never to do again, betray someone he trusted. He convinced Jon Snow to kill Daenerys, carried that weight knowing he had no choice. Sometimes, knowing things means knowing truths you'd rather ignore. In the end, Tyrion survived, became Hand of the King again, this time serving Bran Stark. A complete cycle. The man nobody wanted, that everyone despised, sitting in one of the most powerful chairs in Westeros. Not through strength, not through beauty, not through birth, through knowledge, through resilience, through refusing to die when the whole world was rooting for it. I drink and I know things isn't just a funny phrase to print on t-shirts. It's a survivor's philosophy of someone who found in the shadows of their own suffering a light that no one could extinguish. Tyrion Lannister teaches us that it doesn't matter what body you inhabit, the family that rejects you, or the world that condemns you. What matters is what you do with the mind you have, how you transform pain into wisdom, how you use every humiliation as a step to climb higher. He drank a lot of wine throughout his life, made mistakes that cost thousands of lives, loved people who didn't deserve it, trusted those who only wanted to destroy him. But he never stopped knowing things. And in the Game of Thrones, where you win or you die, sometimes the best strategy is to sit in the corner, raise a glass, and let others underestimate you. Now, tell me something. If knowledge is the most powerful weapon that exists, why do most people prefer ignorance?